Bye-bye, Libby.
Good evening and welcome. You are tuned in and watching the Zone Blitz. This is the weekly webcast produced by NFL Female. I am Sharona. I am the official NFL fan reporter for NFL Female, and I'm joined by three of my NFL Female sisters to preview the upcoming big game between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started because we've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to kick it to my co-host Sonja, as I usually do. Sonja, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some Seahawks Patriots and see, what my sisters Dayna and Angelica think and feel. Although we know that they're going to support their team, but I want to hear what they feel. So I'm really excited. I'm Sonja. I'm the official fan reporter for the Detroit Lions. That Pro Bowl MVP. Matt Stafford, Detroit Lions.
There you go.
I'll talk about that later. But Dayna, Angelica, thank you guys so much for coming on. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. We will start with Angelica. Angelica, why don't you tell everybody hi, where you are, all that good stuff.
Hey, everybody. My name is Angelica, the official fan reporter for the New England Patriots. My beanie leads everybody to think that I'm in freezing cold weather, but I am not. I am in 70 degrees South Florida, wearing a sweater outside because it's cold.
End it with the cold business, sister.
South Florida, girl. It gets below like 85 or 80. It's cold.
It's cold.
Oh, goodness. Cold.
Well, that's good. That is good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Dayna, our resident 12, is here with us tonight, and also of the NFL Female podcast on Wednesday nights. Say hi to everybody, Dayna.
No, I'm sorry, I can't, because I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I understand completely.
You just all about that action, boss, right?
Oh yeah, I'm all about that.
Asking. Thanks for asking.
We just want to know though. Are you grabbing your crotch?
I'm up. I'm good. I'm good. I'm Dayna O'Gorman. I'm the official fan reporter for the Seattle Seahawks and host the Wednesday night with NFL Female podcast. And yeah, I'm excited to be doing these podcasts again for the second year in a row. It's pretty good.
Good, so good. That's so exciting. It must be nice, How does it feel, you guys, okay? All three of your teams have been to a Super Bowl. What's it like? I just want to know. How exciting is it? Like, how do you handle it? Because I know I was going nuts at the playoff game with Dallas. Like, how do you guys seriously handle the games as you go on? I couldn't do it.
It's very stressful.
It is. Angelica, in fact, she was on our podcast last week, and she even said, she's like, wouldn't it be nice, Dayna, to enjoy a Super Bowl? Because when you watch them and your team's in it, it's stressful. It's not fun. Well, last year was a little fun by about halftime for me, but before that, it's a lot. So, yeah, I get it. It's a lot of stress. And you guys know I have football anxiety as it is, so it's a little much.
We don't have fun Super Bowls. If you guys recall the past two Super Bowls, we've lost on, plays that will never happen again in the history of the NFL. So last season, actually, the last Super Bowl, when the Patriots lost, my first thought was, well, now I can actually watch the Super Bowl without it being, a huge thing. I can just sit back, and that's what I did. I would sit back in my Patriots shirt, still supporting, just enjoying the Super Bowl. I would eat, I would talk, I would drink, but that's regardless. That I don't. I'll do that this year. I have to do that this year to keep my sanity. But it's funny because I told Dayna that I was like, we're not gonna enjoy the Super Bowl. One of us will enjoy it at the end, but during it, it's not.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
Well, I'm happy to you guys enjoy it, but not too much, because I want this year's game to be actually a game. Like Dayna said, last year really wasn't much of a game. I pretty much thought that it was over, like Dayna, in the first half, but I watched most of it. I sort of tapered off there at the end because there was no hope for the Broncos to come back. I think that this is going to be a better Super Bowl, and that these two teams are, I think, very well matched in a lot of ways.
I agree. I think this is going to, and that's really what I want, is just a game. I want a good game to watch, and I think these two teams will give it to me, so I can't wait.
You know, it's easier on the blood pressure for the fans when it's a blowout. It just is both ways, either for your team or against your team, because you're like, you know, unless, you know, the Seahawks are playing Green Bay and they want you to wait till 3 minutes left in the damn game to come back and win it. But at the same time, you know, it is a lot easier on the fan bases. But yeah, I could see if it was not my team in the Super Bowl, yeah, you want it to be competitive. You want it to be a good game, and I'm with you guys. I think that this game will be very different from last year's game.
All right. Well, we touched upon this a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the issue with the footballs in the AFC Championship game. Is this going to be a distraction for the Patriots? I want all of you to weigh in, but we'll start, of course, with Angelica.
I think that the players kind of touched upon it today during media day, where it's not going to be a distraction. I think just like all of us, the players are over it. They don't want to talk about it anymore. They just want to talk about the game. And Bill Belichick's the same way, Tom Brady's the same way, where it is what it is. NFL's investigating it. NFL hasn't really come up with anything. So they honestly, and Bill Belichick is really good with this, with just keeping the team on point, not letting any outside distraction, unless it's the Seahawks player trash-talking the best tight end in the league. That's different. But media distractions, I don't think it's going to distract them that much. If anything, it's just going to add fuel to their fire. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Dayna, what do you think?
You know, I agree. I think that these guys are professionals, and we know that this organization has been through this prior, you know, this sort of scrutiny, this sort of media interest, you could say, for a million different reasons, but since they've been through it, I think that they know how to handle it. If it distracts anyone, it'll be those young players. It won't be the key players that they have. I agree that I think most fans are kind of over it, and they're tired of talking about it. Now, you know, whether or not they ever come up with anything or whatever, it doesn't even really matter at this point. Because we know how carefully those footballs are going to be watched during this game. You know, I don't think, you know, there's not going to be a question. Really,
Dayna, that's a good question. Don't you wonder why the NFL let each team handle their own balls anyway? I mean, why doesn't... I mean, yes, we're going to giggle a lot because balls. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, they should have, they should do it. The team shouldn't be responsible for it. Shouldn't the league be responsible for it?
I do think so, and if I remember correctly, that's how it is in the NBA and during NCAA tournaments. You know, so I think that there's a little bit better control there. However, there's not quite as many, and so maybe that's it. It is, too, you know, quarterback preference. I mean, Tom Brady did bring that up, and other quarterbacks corroborated that they, you know, they like their footballs a certain way, and they like, you know, that sort of thing. Sonja, you're back.
Sorry,
so, you know, the thing of it is, but, you know, and so I get that they need to have some preference there, but I think once they've been checked by the quarterbacks and by the refs in that 2-hour window, that really then they should stay under NFL control in that 2-hour window, so that there can't be any questions. There can't be, and you know, not just that the team would, you know, disrupt their own footballs, but, you know, you don't want anyone getting a hold of the other team's, you know, footballs either. So I just think it makes a little more sense to keep it even. Do I think this is a big of a deal? Let's say if this was Cincinnati. No, I think that this is a big deal because it is New England and because of their history. And as much as that sucks for them, you know, there's just going to be those people who are going to be have more scrutiny on this team because of their past. Is it fair? No, I don't know that it is fair, especially to those players that has nothing to do with them. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with Gronk. It doesn't have anything to do with Edelman. It doesn't have anything to do with Vince Wilfork, who I love and adore, but they're going to have to put up with it now. And I think that, for the most part, things will change in the off-season, and I'm sure Angelica will agree. You know, things will change in the off-season of the control of the equipment. I guess, all equipment, not necessarily just football.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it should. This is an issue, and I agree with Dayna because of Spygate and some of the other things. And let's face it, the Patriots have been a wildly successful NFL franchise for a long time, and there are people who would love nothing better than to take down the take down Goliath. But I think the thing that's interesting to me, and I want Sonja to come in and weigh in on this too. If you've ever played an organized sport that involves a ball, you know that the people who handle the ball a lot, they're so picky about their balls. I mean, they are. It is a thing. I can promise you, it's a thing. I played fast pitch softball, and we had one of the best pitchers in the state on our team, and she was so picky. I mean, she was fanatic picky about the ball. She could tell. She knew when she had a good ball. She knew when she had a bad. She would tell us. She would be like, "Oh, this is gonna be a rough one. These balls suck." I mean, and so the people who do have their hands on the ball a lot, they are picky about it. It's crazy, and I agree with Dayna. For the rest of us, like I played primarily during the regular season. I played primarily shortstop, so I didn't touch the ball that much. When it came to me, I just knew. I mean, I could throw the ball hard, but I got a little wild at times. So I just knew that I had to be careful aiming the thing, right?
Yes.
I didn't have to worry about was it, but I mean, the pitchers really were. I mean, and you saw the same thing in basketball. With some of the shooters and stuff. I wasn't that good at basketball, but there were people who, I mean, they could tell you whether they had a good ball or not. And so, it's definitely a thing among athletes that play the game and practice a lot and that are familiar with it.
Yeah. Athletes are creatures of habit, and especially if you are one who holds the football all that time, how you like it, how everything you just know, how do you like, do you need your gloves, do you not need your gloves, whatever, what you need, and they are very, like you said, specific about every little thing. I mean, pitchers, they got to have their whatever they have.
Catchers too. I mean, catchers are they were very fanatical about it too, because they're like the quarterback with the with the pitcher. It's one of the things that's kind of funny to me. I meant to look this up. I didn't get time, but nobody that I can recall has ever explained to me where the league came up with this PSI. I mean, what makes this number any better than another number? And so that's one thing that I'm curious about. I mean, there's this range there, but what does that mean? How to me, how important is that? I think, and a lot of guys have come out and they have said this. You still have to tackle. You still have to do your assignments. You still have to do your job. And so, how inflated or not the football is, in the larger scheme of things, to me, it's so negligible that, but we got to have something to talk about, and this is what it is this year. I mean, last year it really was sort of all about Marshawn and not talking. Of course, it is sort of this year too, which is my semi-clever way of taking us to the Seahawks. But there's always something that people latch on to and talk about because, anymore we're a click nation. We're driven by clicks and what sells, and I think manufactured outrage sells now, and so that's part of what we're dealing with.
I like that, manufactured outrage. That's a very good phrase. I like that.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's even talking about it.
Well, he was asked to talk about it. I know she was so mad, and you know this is where her Angelica and I's little back and forth came from this week, is because he works for Good Morning America. Good Morning America asked him to do this, and now the entire Patriots nation is mad at Bill Nye. It's like we should be mad at Good Morning America because they made him do it. But he really is.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought it was honestly the poor guy could
settle for the show.
But this is why Marshawn Lynch doesn't like talking. And this is why Bill Belichick shows disdain for the media, because that's what they do. And then, but in the media's defense, Bill didn't. I know Bill was trying to provide. Coach Belichick was trying to provide an answer and an explanation. And he had to know that whatever he said was going to get picked apart. Because that's the nature of the beast. That's where we are. That's what, that's what we live with. But, I just recorded an interview about the game, and the thing that I said is we can talk. It's going to be a topic of discussion, but come Sunday, it's going to be all about the play on the field, and all these other issues are going to go away.
Exactly. And, back to kind of a little bit about the Patriots and what does this do to them. I think if it makes Tom Brady mad, you see what happened after week 4 when people made him mad. And so I think, I don't think it's going to hurt their team at all. I think it's just going to piss them off and, bring them together.
They were mad today, though. They were pretty laid back about the whole thing. I really don't think they care, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't.
I wouldn't blame. I'm like, please, come on. The only people that have a right to be pissed about this are the Ravens and the Indy fans. And to be honest with you, the Indy fans can't even really say anything, which they haven't, because they're
all saying they're all like that's not. Everybody knows that's not what caused the Colts to lose the game.
Exactly. All it is that it was a breaking of the rules once again by this organization. I don't think the deflation of the footballs really has anything to do with it. And I feel bad for Belichick, which is hard for me to say because you know how much I love him. But the thing of it is that he should have never. I lied, Angelica. It was lying. I don't. Angelica's like, there's hope. It's recorded. She gets very excited. But no. But they. But the thing of it is that he should have never been put in that position. That press conference was, asinine. It should have never happened. And so I think that today, although it did mirror very much what ended up happening with Marshawn Lynch in Media Day today, Belichick just kept saying, we're not talking that. We're on to Seattle, much like we're on to Cincinnati. Well, really, that's very much mirrors what Marshawn Lynch does when he doesn't want to answer a question either. But you don't see anyone getting mad at Belichick about it. So.
No, because he's Bill Belichick, and you can't really get mad at him.
Well, I don't know that many people are. I don't know that many people are mad at Marshawn Lynch. The thing about that. The thing about it is that nobody holds the media accountable when they're out there doing stuff like this that really annoys everybody and does nobody any good. And so I don't have a problem with Coach Belichick or Marshawn Lynch doing this.
Right.
Exactly. So, I don't see why,
Yeah. I tend to agree with actually with all of you. I don't think that it's going to be as much a distraction as what some people think. I think, guys know that they've got to answer these, in some cases, silly media questions, and they know that, that's part that goes along with it. That's part of what they've got to do. But remember, media appearances are a very small part of what they do. And despite Media Day at the Super Bowl, I mean, they're out there preparing. They're more concerned. The Patriots are more concerned about stopping Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch and getting their secondary healthy than they are, about
ball size.
About who likes them inflated and who likes them deflated.
I feel like people make such a big deal of Media Day when players on both sides kind of said it's fun for them. They liked it, and they liked enjoying. I mean, Rob Gronkowski sang "Roar" by Katy Perry just to win the franchise box. It was amazing. I want to make that my ringtone now. And like all these other players, they were having fun. The Seahawks players as well, they were just having fun with it. And you could tell that they were laughing and it was a fun day for them. It's crazy for the media and for us trying to keep up with everything, but it's fun for them. It's like their last fun day before it's 100% serious, 100% game. That's it. Like, no distraction. So, what happened today in the media, I thought it was fun. New ringtone, grab Gronkowski.
Yeah, and he also didn't. Oh no, that was Richard Sherman that sauced it. But Gronk did dance with the. Yeah, Gronk danced. Gronk.
Yeah, you need to YouTube Russell Wilson salsaing with that gal because he was probably the best dancer out of all of them. He did a great job. It was really fun. And I know
Somehow I'm not surprised. I think Russell Wilson is kind of like a jack of all trades. Like whatever he does, boom, just a natural. Goes right at it. I'm not surprised.
I want to see him juggle.
I'm sure he can juggle.
Probably can.
While riding a unicycle. And I'm sure he can.
He could ride a unicycle and juggle like 4 beer bottles and just be perfect at it.
Exactly.
And cry at the same time, and it would just be awesome.
It'd just be adorable.
You have to understand, though, at the end of that Green Bay game, you know, when he was so emotional, that was so refreshing.
I was going to cry with him. I'm not hating on Russell Wilson.
And the reason why is because, you know, there was this whole thing his first season when Michael Robinson was still on the team and he was doing the Real Rob report, and they would go in the locker room and video, that there was this whole kind of underlying joke through the whole season that Russell Wilson was a robot because he never showed emotion. He did everything perfect. He always had the right answer. He was a robot. He wasn't real. And so to finally, after 3 seasons, to see that pure emotion out of him, it was like, oh my God, he actually has that emotion. It was fantastic for 12s. And I know that there's been 1,000 memes made fun of him and like all that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, it was amazing for fans that we could see that, and every one of them, oh my God, he's not a robot, and it was great. And you know, it's kind of nice when you can see some players, you see a little bit too much of their real side, and then other players you don't ever see any. You know, I always want a little bit more out of Aaron Rodgers too, you know, because he always is like so stiff and so perfect, you know, and it's like,
yeah, but he's underrated about it. He throws, you have to pay attention to him. You know, it's been such a tough year for Russell Wilson. He's gone through a lot of changes. There's you know, a lot of things got reported that he probably would have preferred. You know, a lot of scrutiny over his private life, you know, the Percy Harvin situation, and, you know, and then the whole, I think and I read an excellent article, I forget who wrote it, but it was talking about the whole he wasn't black enough thing. And
that was Percy Harvin.
Yeah, but this was an article that really got into how that hurt him on a personal level. Not that you would ever know it, you know, because he doesn't, you know, like Dayna said, he doesn't show that emotion. But it was definitely nice to see, and you know, he made fun of himself too, which I thought was great. Talking about how he's an ugly crier and all of that. Russell, let me tell you something, baby. You ain't got nothing on me. I am the ugliest crier ever. So you all right, boo. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Have to have an ugly cry contest.
Yeah. But let's talk about the secondary. Dayna, give us an update. What's going on? Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, both are basically shrugging off their injuries. Are they going to be a factor or not?
Injuries aren't going to be a factor at all, I don't think. And if they are, we'll never know it. The interesting thing to me, I think, and this is what most people think at this point, is the fact that if they could get hurt and finish that game, that 2 weeks off is not going to be that big of an effect. Now, I do think that after the season's over, it wouldn't surprise me if Earl Thomas ended up needing some sort of surgery on that shoulder. But at the same time, you won't see it from him. And the same with Sherm. You know, I was really upset when there was, during the game, there was, like, I was on a plane, I wrote that article about that, but after the game, I was reading that there was a lot of people who said, oh, Sherman's not even really hurt. He faked it. He was just trying to bait, Rodgers into throwing his way. And that really upset me because, it just bothered me that people always assume the worst of people, and they didn't give him the credit that he deserved for powering through that. He was a warrior in that game. I cannot even wrap my brain around the amount of pain that he must have been in. And then that tackle that he did toward the end of the game, and he landed right on it. I can't wrap my brain around it. And, but like we said, people like to assume the worst of people, and they, they like to pick people apart, especially behind their computers where they, can't get in trouble for it. But I know, yeah.
Keyboard courage.
Strong.
Yeah. Keyboard courage. But yeah, and so, but I think that they'll be fine. I really think that Sherman will be fine. He's already done with his treatments on his elbow, so they seem to think it's just kind of sore and tender, but it's not swollen. He has full range of motion. His quote was that if he needed to reach over and smack his brother, he could do it without a problem. So he felt fine,
I can totally see him scrapping with his brothers when he was younger.
Yeah. The two of them together are quite fun, but yeah. So it's I think it'll be okay. I really would be surprised if we even really noticed, and except for maybe toward the end of the game after the wear and tear of the whole game, I think they will be just as physical and just as powerful. And the best thing for us, to be quite honest with you, in the secondary is the fact that Kam Chancellor is 100% healthy. That is going to be, that Pete Carroll today said, he is the heart of that team and of the secondary, and he really is. He is an enforcer. He is a beast, and so I think as long as he is healthy, and we saw earlier in the season when he wasn't healthy how that affected everyone, and the fact that
he and Bobby Wagner both being out really affected the defense.
Right, and so I think that will be really huge. They said that there's no adjustment in game plan for Sherman and Thomas, so I'm assuming that they'll be full go, whether they're really ready to be full go or not. So
that's what I was thinking. I was like, they'll probably most definitely play, but Sherm most likely will be closer to 100% than Earl Thomas would be. But I just hope, though, for their sakes, that nothing happens while they're out there, because that would really that would make me sick. I just wouldn't like to see that.
Angelica, I want you to weigh in on this too. I want to know what you guys make of Brandon Browner saying that players need to target those injuries. And Richard Sherman came out in support of Brandon, but Angelica, what did you take away from that?
Well, Brandon Browner said that, but then he immediately said him and Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, they're all best friends in real life. But I think what he said is something that every player thinks about and what every team goes to. He just said it out loud. So he's basically saying what everybody else is thinking. Before Brandon Browner said that, I'm sure the Patriots already said, we're going to go after Richard Sherman, we're going to go after Earl Thomas, because you know what? They're not 100%. Even if they're playing like it, they're not. So... just like a couple years ago, everybody was going after Rob Gronkowski. His knee, his elbow, his shoulder, his everything. So I'm sure the Seahawks are also going to be like, hey, you know what? This guy has injuries. So it's just...
Well, your center has he missed the AFC Championship game. Looks like he's going to play. He's a rookie. They're going to test that young man.
Of course. They're going to test everybody. So his comments really don't worry me. They're going to play. They're going to give it their all. And both teams are going to give it their all. Whether I doubt they're going to be like, oh, look, there they are. Go exactly for that because they're injured. No. It's not something that's only that mindset. It's just something good to have in the back of your mind.
Yeah, Dayna, did you get a chance to see that? What did you think about that? Because Brandon played for the Seahawks.
Brandon Browner is really loved in the city of Seattle. It was not his decision to leave Seattle, and that was, I think, one of the moves that really bothered a lot of people in the offseason. People talk about Golden Tate, but it was just different with Brandon, and I think it was because they had already given him so. I know you do. And he's had a good time with the Seahawks this week at the Pro Bowl, and that was nice to see. You know, it was nice to see them all hanging out and everything. But I think that it really hurt with Brandon because he had kind of become a pet project in a lot of the fans' opinions. He'd had a troubled past. He had been to the CFL and back. They gave him a chance, and he fit into the Legion of Boom so beautifully. I think that was hard when he left, but it was time for him to go. I mean, obviously he had 2 suspensions and was having a lot of issues, and they had Byron Maxwell ready and willing to come in and who fits fantastically there. So to see him say those things about his brothers, because they spend the entire offseason together. Brandon Browner is always with the Legion of Boom guys, and so I think that the fans reacted very harshly to that. They instantly reacted to, oh my God, these are your brothers. What are you talking about? You want someone to break Sherman's arm, instead of thinking of it in a football term, like Angelica said. That you go after them, that you don't back down, and really that's what I said on Twitter. I said, I'm trying to think of this as he's saying, just because they're hurt, you don't back away from them. He's not the most eloquent of a guy, and so God love him. I really love Brandon.
Yeah, that's what Richard Sherman said.
He's not the most eloquent guy, and so and he backed off from that today. And Sherman supposedly, and this actually came from Brandon and from Branton Sherman, that Sherman sent him a text right after he read it that said, "LOL, try." And so obviously, there's this little camaraderie between, they get it, but the fans' reaction in Seattle was very harsh, and a lot of them are still really upset because they feel like he stepped over a line that maybe other players could have, and it wouldn't have been seen as harsh, but because it was Brandon Browner that said it, it was really upsetting to a lot of fans.
I think what he said was very inartfully said, and I can understand why people were upset about it. Any connotation, any notion that, regardless of whether you're friends or not, but that another player would intentionally go out and try to injure another player, anybody is going to take steps, anybody associated with the league is going to take steps to try to downplay that, because that's not something that the league would want anybody to think is now. Does it happen? Yes, there's absolutely no question, but that there are dirty players who go out and intentionally try to hurt other players.
That's Sonja.
But I don't think. But I don't think
you got rid of that player, Sonja.
Yeah, I mean those players are few and far between, and we won't mention Mr. Riola or a former
Lion, he who shall remain nameless,
or a former Tennessee Titan, Washington Redskin.
Yes.
I think he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for a while. Albert Hainsworth. I mean,
he was
there
a Patriot too. He was. You're right.
Oh, that's right. Very briefly. Yeah. So I mean, it happens, and but it's definitely not a look that anyone associated with the league wants, and I think that that's what people took offense to, and people took issue with. Do I think that Brandon Browner would intentionally try to hurt his friends? I certainly hope not.
I honestly, his comments, I guess, they could be taken out of line, but as a fan of the Patriots, I don't want anybody getting injured in this game. Not somebody from my team, not somebody from the other team, because then people are going to say, oh, but that guy was injured, so you guys technically didn't win. Not only somebody from my team getting injured because somebody from my team. And I'm sure that's exactly how the players feel, too. I mean, we're not the Saints. We don't intentionally hurt people.
For money.
Yeah. Saints from a few years back. Saints, not the current Saints.
No. This is way back when. Throwback Tuesday.
Throwback Tuesday.
All right, let's turn to matchups, and let's talk about matchups in this game. I asked you guys to pick the matchup that you think is the most vital, the most important in the larger scheme of things. There obviously are a number of matchups in the game. Angelica, I'll start with you. What matchup do you see being key here?
I think the biggest matchup for this game is going to be Rob Gronkowski versus Kam Chancellor. And I mean, Gronk, I guess, is the biggest matchup for the Seahawks in general, especially for that secondary. Because Gronk is Gronk, and he's amazing, and I hope he never leaves. But anyway, it's just one of those guys where he's so big and he's so athletic that there's really no way exactly to stop him. But the Seahawks secondary scares me, and I will say this straight out. They've always scared me. They've been one of those guys, people like the Ravens when it was like with Ray Lewis. That Super Bowl. The Ravens defense scared me. Now it's like the Seahawks. The Seahawks, I'm scared, guys. Like, I'm seriously scared right now. But I feel like if Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady can match up like they have been throughout the season, it's going to be very, very tough for the Seahawks to stop him.
Dayna?
Yeah, I agree with what she says. Definitely, I think Gronk is a focus. The interesting thing is I think Gronk is more of a focus of the media and fans' attention. I don't know that it'll be as much of a focus for the two teams. If you really look at the statistics, yes, we've had a few issues with tight ends in the past. However, those games that everyone keeps quoting that we have, we keep giving up these tight ends too and things like that, a lot of them were when Bobby Wagner and Kam Chancellor weren't in the game. So, I think that has a lot to do with it. Although over the middle is really where we do have the biggest problem. So she's absolutely right about that. If I have to look at matchups, though, it's going to be, Marshawn Lynch against the line. And I really think that is going to become – I see a little girl in the background. Sorry.
Heather. Yes, I think that's Heather.
Yeah, but sorry, she was just cute. Sorry, but
she is adorable.
I think that's what really, I think is going to come down to, they're going to have to figure out that line. And I have said this a million times over. I love Vince Wilfork. I really do. But I do think that when it comes down to it, the defensive line of the Patriots is going to have to figure out how to deal with Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson. And that's the combination. It's the combination of the two of them together that seem to give most defensive lines the fits, because they spy one, they have to spy the other, which then takes their guys, it splits their it splits their guys up a little bit more. So I think that's going to be a much bigger matchup. You can talk about Brady and Sherman all day long. If Brady is smart, he's not going to test Sherman a ton, especially in a long ball. Now, across the middle, maybe, but not in the long ball. I think that he will try it a couple of times because it's Tom Brady, and he's going to see what he can do about that. But I do think that, to be honest with you, that's not going to be the focus. The focus is going to be definitely the Gronkowski across the middle, and then Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson combo for the defensive line of the Patriots.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Angelica.
It's actually funny that Dayna brought up Vince Wilfork, because today I read an article, and it was kind of talking about Vince Wilfork and how they're expecting him to match up to like Justin Britt, and how Justin Britt has given up like 7 or 8 sacks this season, and he's a rookie, so this is like complete, like he wasn't there last season to get all this like Super Bowl hype. Vince Wilfork's been here 5 times.
Right.
So, I guess 3, 4, 6 times. So, numbers aren't my thing. But, so that's a matchup with Vince Wilfork that I'm really excited to see, just to see how, because he's good. Both of them are going to be really good. So it's going to be fun to just see if Wilfork can just get that edge, just a small edge.
Right. and I agree there. I think that is, our offensive line has always been a question for the Seahawks without, that's always been an issue, with Max Unger being back and Okun being healthy, Britt being healthy, and Sweezy being healthy, because in the last game they weren't all, well, Max was back, but you never really know what percent Max is at. God love Max Unger, but he's not, 20. So, but they, I think that they, it'll be interesting to see if they end up having to double team Wilfork, if the speed of Britt will counteract with the size of, Wilfork. I think it's going to be fun, and I think that that's what makes this game a little different. Now, they did talk about this last year in the Super Bowl with, the defensive line of Denver. It wasn't as strong as this defensive line, but our O-line was a little more beat up too. So I just think it's going to be really interesting to see the game plan, because they're going to have to. This is going to be a game plan game. It's not going to be just go out there and beat the crap out of each other. they're really going to have to plan well, and it'll be fun to kind of watch and see how that works out.
Yes.
Sonja, what matchup are you looking forward to?
That matchup that Dayna just alluded to, the game planning matchup. And I really want to see what the mad scientist, Bill Belichick, comes up with and how I just want to see the two of them and just their game plan. It's going to be a chess match, I think. And, Pete Carroll's style and, like I said, what is Bill Belichick going to pull out of his hat and just be like, let's do this. And just to see what's going to happen. I think that's going to be the biggest, funnest thing. And then also, Marshawn Lynch, he's going to be fun to keep an eye on, too, because he's going to start off, like they said, a few yards here, a few yards there, whatever. But as the game goes on, he has the potential to wear them down. And, where it goes from just a few yards here or there, it's going to go for 10, 20 yards, So that's going to be really kind of interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, I want to bring up something that Dayna said. I wonder whether to what extent Tom Brady will throw long. Everybody knows that Tom Brady's long ball accuracy has noticeably decreased over the course of the past 3 or 4 years. That's not a strength in his game at all. Pardon me, which is why Gronk has, the tight end has become such a key element to their offense. But I wonder, on the other side of the ball, I wonder who the Patriots are going to use to spy Russell Wilson. And you would think, Angelica, that it's going to be Devin McCourty, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Devin McCourty has definitely taken the role as becoming one of the leaders in our defense, and rightly so. He's so good, and he just makes these key plays when he has to, and when he's amazing. I love him, and it's funny because since he's got on the Patriots, I always said this guy's gonna be good. This guy's gonna be good. Everybody just watch out because he's it. He is the Patriots defense future, and sure enough, it's been him. But the thing with Russell Wilson is the Seahawks. Russell Wilson can run. He can get the ball to Marshawn Lynch to run. Russell Wilson can throw. Russell Wilson can just hold on to that ball, make coffee, drink the coffee, make an omelet, scramble, mess it up, and then have scrambled eggs, eat it, and then just be like, oh, here.
And do it all perfectly because he.
The Hail Mary 2-point conversion.
Oh my God, I know.
That was ridiculous.
Where do they do that at? How in the world does that happen? It's just.
We want to know too. To be honest with you, it's crazy.
Russell Wilson can make magic at times. It's really, truly amazing. Everybody knows I'm a Russell Wilson fan. All right, get off my back.
Oh, we knew that. That's your boo.
That's the most
I am not ashamed.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed.
And that is something that really the Seahawks fans have been taught over the last couple of years, especially this season, and actually kind of true for the Patriots fans in the postseason, but you can be down 14, 16, 20. There can be, a quarter left, and,
It's not over till it's over.
Matter. I know. It's just crazy, and I think that's what's going to be fun, and I think that's what really is going to come down to. It doesn't matter. Although we thought this last year, too. You kept saying, well, 20 points isn't enough because it's Peyton Manning. 25 points isn't enough because it's Peyton Manning. But in these two teams, they've proven that this year, that it doesn't matter if you're 20 points down. No. If there's time on the clock, there's still. And both teams have proven that this year. I think that's what's going to make it really fun.
Yeah, I do, too. The other thing that I wanted to talk to Angelica about in terms of the spying, I think the linebackers are going to be Spygate.
Funny.
I'm really curious to see how the linebackers, how they use their linebackers, particularly Jamie Collins, in helping contain the edge and keeping Russell Wilson, in front of them, not letting him, get out of the pocket and make those amazing plays that he's capable of making. I really think that they've got the players who can do it. I'm curious, like Dayna said, I'm curious to see what the mad genius Bill Belichick does to try to to contain, because you can't really contain Marshawn Lynch. You can only hope to slow him down and stop him enough to where you can get off the field. But he is,
Right.
he is definitely, and I'm sure you guys saw the article that Pete Prisco of CBS Sports did.
That guy.
No, nobody likes Pete, but it was a good article.
That guy.
I mean,
I haven't even read it.
I don't even want to talk about that article. Like, I'm so over it.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, nobody wants to talk about Pete Prisco's article.
Oh, I
All
can
right.
say a lot of things about Pete. I'm just too nice of a girl to say them out loud.
Note to self.
I'm a lady.
Yeah, nobody likes him. I understand that. But, he did interview a bunch of Pro Bowl players talking about how hard it was to tackle and take down beast mode. And it was well done. It was good. I enjoyed it.
See, even a stop clock is right 2 times a day. So there.
All right, we're going to move on from that. Before we move on from the Super Bowl and go to our hot topics discussion, I want to get a prediction from you guys. Sonja, I'm going to start with you. Give me a Super Bowl prediction.
Seahawks 28, Patriots 24.
All right. Dayna?
You guys know I hate score predictions because it all depends on if someone gets hurt. I hate score predictions. I'm gonna say 24-17 Seahawks. I don't think it's gonna be that high of a scoring game.
Okay. Angelica?
I don't like numbers. I clearly said that earlier in the podcast. But real quick, before we go, since you guys brought up the linebackers, I think we lost Gerard Mayo in the beginning of the season, and that kind of messed up a lot. And that was kind of a lot about what happened towards like game 4, which is when we were trying to get our linebackers together and see what was going to happen in that defense. But Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins, both of them together, have come out, kind of just said, hey, look, we're here. It's okay. We got this. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up. But anyways, back to the score. I think the Patriots are going to win, hopefully. If I had to say a number, I'm going to say... Dayna, what's your number?
24-17.
24-17. I'm going to say 21...
17.
19? 18, 19, 20, 21. 21, 19.
That's perfectly fine.
That's good. That's good.
All right.
I agree with her. I think it's going to be low scoring. And watch, it's going to be like
It's going to be low scoring, too. I did.
Watch, it'll be like...
I know.
I predicted the same score that Sonja predicted, except that I just have a gut feeling that the Patriots are going to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and you know what? I like both teams. I probably like the Seahawks a little bit more than I like the Patriots. I'm just hoping for a good game. I just feel in my gut that the Patriots are going to win this one, and I said that they were going to win it 28 to 23-24. Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a very close, competitive football game. It would not surprise me at all if there's not a defensive score by one or both teams. And I was asked to predict who the MVP might be. And what I said, if the Patriots win and if Tom Brady plays well enough, I think he's going to Joe Namath it. I think he'll get the MVP, and I'm kind of hoping, though, for...
You think he'll get a fur coat?
Probably. I bet Giselle rushes the field and flings it on him, and they take selfies all over the field.
By the way, have you guys seen the gorgeous pictures that Giselle puts on Instagram with, like, her kids?
No.
Tom Brady's. They're really cute. Guys, they'll be, like, in front of a TV with their Brady jerseys on.
They're like doppelganger. I mean, they are like too perfect.
They are. They're
like
so
those
cute.
kids, I'm jealous. I wish I had jeans like that.
Yeah.
Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen. Definitely.
It is.
Dayna, I'm ignoring you. I'm not listening to Dayna right now.
I said they were beautiful. Look,
They are.
Sonia.
I'm know I love my
listen.
Michigan band.
This is my fault because Angelica's had to put up with me for 3 years picking on her team and saying one nice thing every time she's on the podcast about them. No, the funny thing is that my brother's a Patriots fan, so it's just in me to really kind of torch them. But I don't do that for you, Angelica. I'm usually quiet in my eye rolling.
Yeah, she's good. She's good to me. I can't complain.
Yeah, I wish I could stop yawning.
Are we boring you, Sonja? We're so sorry.
No, you're not boring me. I do not know what's going on. Ugh, I'm old and tired, you guys.
I'm going to have to bring I've got a little showboat right down here who's desperately wanting to get on camera, but she's not going to. All right, let's turn to our hot topics. And the one that I picked for us all to discuss is Josh Gordon. Can Josh Gordon be saved? I mean, this news, I try not to get too attached to to players and stuff, but I had a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for Josh Gordon because I was just so praying that he would get it together, that he would be okay. Can he be saved? He's going to be suspended again. I've lost count of how many times he's been suspended. He got a break. He got a bit of a break when the NFL redid their policy, but he's going to be suspended again. I think that this is it for the young man. What do you ladies think? Angelica, I'll start with you.
Well, to add a number, this is his third failed test. This time it was for alcohol. And I think the fact that now with the new NFL policy, he's going to be suspended for a year. Like, it's very hard. Once he's suspended for a year, he probably won't go back. Like, no team is going to take that risk to get him. Because why? He's had multiple chances to shape up and to get his life together. And he hasn't. He hasn't taken that chance. So I wouldn't want to spend my cap money, especially Patriots. We have the history with Aaron Hernandez. I mean, a different situation. One's not the other one. It's kind of different. But it's
like a comparison.
Yeah, but I understand what Angelica is trying to say. Once bitten, twice shy, and you're a little bit more careful with your money when you get burned like that.
Exactly, and teams are going to see that. It's not like he was a good player, but he wasn't as good enough to be like, oh, you know what, it's fine. We can surpass all the suspensions and everything. Just get him. It's not going to be like that for him.
Dayna, what do you think?
I'm a little torn on this one. I was heartbroken when I read about this because if you watched his interviews and stuff when he was coming back, he seemed to really have got his crap together, and it bothered me a little bit. This was alcohol because yes, he knows the rules and everything, but I don't know. It bothers me when there's this much talent that just seems to be lost. That's the mom in me, I think. I always say that's my mama football, because it's like I just want someone to take him into the house and cook him dinner and he'll be fine, sort of a thing. But I think when it comes to will teams pick him back up, I do think they will. If he stays in football shape, he will go play for a team for league minimum, and he will be a steal if he can keep his nose clean. And I think it's along the same lines of, yes, is Adrian Peterson going to play again? Yep. Is Ray Rice going to play again? Yep. Some team, let's say it's the Raiders or Jacksonville or one of those teams that are kind of in the trenches and need something, they're going to go grab these players if they can, if they're in football shape. Now, of course,
with Justin Blackman, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I think, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Says, I'm going to pay you league minimum, and it's a prove it. If you can manage to do it, then we'll talk a contract the next year. So I do think that there's probably a good chance he will play again if he decides to stay in football shape and to stay, clean for a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so hard just because this time, like Dayna said, it was just alcohol. I mean, it's not something that you're like, oh, no, illegal substance. Like, it was alcohol. It's so hard. I mean, we're going to see this year. Whatever team picks up Jameis Winston, that's the team he could possibly
Right.
get. If you can get Jameis Winston, who yells obscenities and is just ridiculous as a college player. If you can get him in check, Josh Gordon shouldn't be that big a deal.
Well, Tyrann Mathieu, too, he was nothing but trouble in college and really got his act together. And, wow, look at the way he's turned out. So I think the teams see that. And there are some teams, and coaches, Pete Carroll is a perfect example. They'll take a trouble child on. And they'll say, okay, but you got to play the game. And if you don't, you're gone. And so I think that there'll be other coaches out there that will do the same.
I mean, Bill Belichick did that, too. He got Randy Moss and Chad Ochocinco go. And
Brandon Browner. Yep.
Akeem Talib.
Akeem Talib. Yep. Darrell Revis, Albert Hainsworth, the list can go on.
They stole Akeem Ayers from the Tennessee Titans.
But like these are all players that you never heard a word from, and like press conferences were all very scripted, very to the Patriots way. So I mean, Josh Gordon for me, he was always fantasy type of players, but it's hard. It's just so hard to see like that happen.
Sonja, what do you think?
Like you guys say, it's a heartbreaking thing. Somebody with that much talent, and it's just going on. But I also think this poor kid needs help. You know, I think he really needs help. He's got an addiction, and the nurse in me is saying this child needs some help.
Yes,
he needs to go someplace and get help with his addiction. And yes, it was alcohol, but he's been convicted of DUIs, and so that's part of it. And that's horrible. And so he needs help. And I think that if he can get the help that he needs, he's young enough so that if it takes a year or two for him to get clean and stay that way, I think that he will be somebody. He will be a good steal for somebody. And I also think he needs mentorship as well. And maybe it's somebody like a Chris Carter or even a Michael Irvin. I don't know. Somebody to say, look, you're gonna F up if you keep this up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to just help keep them in line. And I'm not 100% sure what the NFL provides and what they don't. But
I was just getting ready to say that, Sonja. I was just getting ready to say if the NFL doesn't have a mentoring support group program, they desperately need it.
Somebody, because these are issues that if he doesn't get them under control, football is going to be the least of his worries.
Yes. We saw that with your former wide receiver.
Yeah.
His name escapes me. What is his name?
Oh, gosh. Hang on. Oh, goodness. I can see him. He's a wide receiver. He got arrested twice in the night. Oh, what's his name?
I know.
No, that's not him.
Oh, gosh. And I think he played up against Sherman when they played here in Detroit. Oh, your name is killing me right now.
I can't think of it.
I can't either.
Someone tweeted to us. Someone send it to a tweet.
Send it to us.
The world will tell us.
Somebody's looking at their computer like, oh, I know the answer.
Titus Young.
Yes.
Titus Young.
I kept thinking Priest Holmes, and I knew that was wrong. I'm like, no, that's not it.
I knew there was a T in there. I'm like, dang it, what's his name?
I knew there was a T in there, too. I just could not come up with it. So, Does anybody else have a hot topic that they want to weigh in on, talk about?
Well, I just have a congratulations, if that's in order, that the 12th man found out today that Richard Sherman is going to be a father very quickly. His girlfriend is 9 months pregnant, and they told no one. And I don't know if they want it to be a distraction. I don't know, but he did an article today that came out today for Monday Morning Quarterback with Peter King and SI, and in there said that has been a big, kind of focus changer for him, that he realizes, maybe that's why he's grown up so much in the last year and why he's not quite as brash, because this is really a toned down.
He hasn't been.
He really has.
Yeah.
Now,
so,
if they are 9 months pregnant, look, girl, Close it. Dayna, tell her some tricks
I
to hold
know.
off labor.
I got a
please.
whole list of things for him.
Sunday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he's gonna get a call. He's gonna jump on that
They're bringing
plane.
back laughing gas, you know.
Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you this. Let me tell you this. If she goes into labor, I doubt she's telling him because I don't think that it will. She'll keep her mouth shut there. But the thing of it is, I think they have a few weeks still to go. But it's just like that. It just kind of brings into focus. It's like, yeah, Daddy Sherm is going to show up, and it is a boy. He said that this baby's a boy, and so he's really excited, and their family's excited. So huge congratulations to them. I'm excited. That's a very stable family that baby is being born into, and a very tight-knit family. So it'll be fun to see. Sherm is a dad. That's just it'll be good.
It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Definitely congratulations to Richard Sherman and his lovely lady on the upcoming birth of their child, and we hope that the delivery is quick and easy and as painless as possible. Girl, get you some drugs. Do it.
Dayna's like, no, don't get drugs.
Remember, that's my other job, is getting people
I would not go, listen, there's no way I would go through natural childbirth
and that's okay.
Without a little bit of something to help you out.
No, you're going to make it as painless as possible, or you will not like me at all.
Awesome. Fair enough.
What do you guys think about no more Seahawks talks because...
Oh, baby!
Congratulations, Richard Sherman. Congratulations, baby. Maybe his kid and Tom Brady will match up again once they're in the NFL.
Hey, you never know.
There you go.
It'll
There
happen.
you go.
But what did you guys think of the goalpost during the Pro Bowl? Because honestly, I am so against it. I'm like, no, why fix something that's not broken? Just leave it alone. Leave it how it is.
That's a great question, Angelica. What did you guys think?
See, Angelica, you do this to us. This is what you do to us, Angelica. I love that they made it thinner. I thought it was awesome. Honest to God, when you can start making field goals from 60 yards away, something needs to change. I think that it was interesting. And if Vinatieri can't make an extra point, they're just going to have to learn to be more accurate. I thought it was cool. I think it's an interesting way. Instead of putting more rules on the play on the field, it is a way for them to make the game a little more competitive. I think that is definitely... Now, I don't know. If Hauschka starts missing them, I'll probably change my mind.
See, there you go.
But right now, I think it's an interesting twist to make the game a little more competitive instead of just adding more rules.
I agree. I think it's, I think making it a little bit more competitive, and I think that's in the end what they really wanted to do, is figure out a way to make it so that the extra point isn't just a gimme, isn't just a chip shot, So I think this helps. If it kind of increases the miss factor a little bit, hey, that makes it that much more exciting in a way, brings icing the kicker in, a whole nother, sends it a whole nother light.
I'm with Angelica. I don't like it. I wish they'd quit messing with what is not broken. You have the best product, one of the best sports products in the world, and you just keep fiddling with it, and you're fiddling. I actually didn't watch the Pro Bowl. I had no desire to watch the Pro Bowl. I thought the draft thing was dumb. I don't like anything about if they're going to do it, give them a vacation. Send them to Hawaii. Let them have some fun. That's
what I think. I think for sure it does need to go back to Hawaii. But I think it's kind of fun. Yeah,
but you have to, Dayna, think about it. Like in Seattle, when they have that really bad weather and your goalposts are this big, and you're down by 2 points, and your kicker goes on the field to kick that field goal, and there's 20-mile-per-hour winds, and the goalposts are that big, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna be like, you know what, Angelica was right.
That's really just what she was trying to get at, so that she could say that.
I'm going to keep that in my back pocket, Angelica. And if that happens, I'm going to send you a tweet and say, girl, you were right, I am wrong. And I will put it out there for everyone to see. But I get what you're saying, because it is harder in some places than others. Absolutely. It's not like it's hard to kick a field goal in Miami, but, Green Bay in the middle of winter? Yeah, that's not so fun. So I get that. I definitely get that too. I think that the NFL is trying. It's so funny because on one hand, they seem to be trying to figure out ways to jack the score up. So we have these 15, 60-point games. And at the other hand, they do something like this that would actually bring the score down. So maybe they're trying to balance that. And what they need to do is leave defense alone and let them play the damn game. That's what they need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let them actually, like, tackle and make hits. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We're not, like, hard.
Oh, I will co-sign that. All right. Well, the hour always goes by so fast. Great show from our official fan reporters for the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. We appreciate Angelica and Dayna both joining us. Before we get out of here, Angelica, we want to bring you back in and let you tell everybody where they can find you on social media. And Dayna, we're going to obviously give you the same opportunity, and then we'll get out of here.
Perfect. Well, you can find me on social media at Twitter. My handle is @_Angelica Mendez. And you can also find me on NFL Female with the New England Patriots. I will not be tweeting during the Super Bowl. That is disclaimer to everybody. I will be off of social media completely for the Super Bowl.
Wise choice. Dayna, let's get you in here and give us a preview. I'm sure you guys are not going to talk about the Super Bowl at all tomorrow night.
No, it is weird for me on our Wednesday Night with NFL Female podcast because, I'm the host and the mediator. And so last week when Angelica was nice enough to come on for the second week in a row, because we'd had her on before, I had the girls try and take those questions, my co-hosts Lisa and Michelle, because, it is nice to be able to put on a fan hat every once in a while instead of a meteor hat. So it's nice. But tomorrow night on Wednesday Night with NFL Female, we're very excited. We have Linky Marie. She is from the Food Network Star. She was a finalist with them, and she's going to come on and talk about some Super Bowl party tips and that sort of thing, because we always think it's fun. She has amazing recipes. But
I bet.
Starting off the show, we're very excited because we have Zig Fracassi. And I love the way that he says his name on Sirius XM NFL Radio, Zig Fracassi. So I want him to do it tomorrow. He's going to join us again. He's been on our show a couple times before, and he's going to come on and talk about a lot what we did tonight, about the matchups and what he sees happening, in the Super Bowl. And he always has great insight. So we're super excited about that. So you can always find me there. We're on Blog Talk Radio every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I'm on social media. It's Dayna OG, Dayna OG on Twitter. That's always the easiest. And I'm with Angelica. I will not be on Twitter during the Super Bowl. I'll talk to you after. Yeah.
All right, Sonja.
Maybe. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Maybe.
I'm Sonia, and you guys can find me as always every Tuesday night here chatting with my NFL Female ladies and my boo Sharona. You can also find me on social media. You can find me at mom, 2, 3, RN. Hey, Boo Bear.
And,
well, somebody had to make an appearance. She was just dying to make an appearance. I'm Sharona. You can find me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. This is Libby. She is not on social media, not yet, anyway.
You got to get her an Instagram account or something.
Yes, she needs a reality TV show, I'm telling you. She's such a hand. All right, well, that's it for us tonight. We'll be back next week with another great show. We're going to have the people behind Gridiron Mo, the fantastic new app that is so fun to use. We previewed their new developments. Well, it's probably been a few months ago. They're going to come back.
3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, they're going to come back and they're going to share with us the results of their first season with the new app, and we'll talk about how the Super Bowl went down and all sorts of good stuff. And we'll probably have some more interesting hot topics to talk about. So stay tuned in. We'll be back next week with another great show. Shout out to Liz, as always, who makes all of this possible. Have a very pleasant evening, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.